Oh, my Scrapbook Club friends, I am here today to walk you through the different steps that I think you need to pay special attention to for April's collection in full bloom. There are 3 layouts, and I don't think I'm going to need a separate video for each one of them because while this is a little different than what we usually do, it's not complicated and I can handle it all in one video, I'm pretty sure. All right, the first thing I want to mention is that I'm actually going to do this out of order. And if you are planning on doing the stamping for both layout 1 and layout 2 together, you should do the stamping for layout 2 first in the glacier, and then do the stamping for layout 1 in the black. All right, now if you're just using regular pencil crayons or you're using your watercolor crayons dry, you don't need to use any special black inks for this. You can just use your regular black ink. If you thought you may want to add a little bit of water to your watercolor pencils after you've colored, then I would suggest you use your intense black ink. I only did dry though. I did not add any water to mine. All right, so I'm going to do layout 2 first. Move these out of the way. Okay, so I posted pictures of these layouts with all of the piece numbers attached. All right, so the number at the beginning indicates which layout, and then the letter is the identifier for each particular piece. And in my written directions, I refer to all of these pieces. Okay, so let me know how you like that, if that makes more sense to you or if it helps you, if it's confusing or you don't like it. Like either way, I'd be very interested to know what you think. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is talk about the die cuts. When you are punching out your die cuts, these are very detailed and intricate die cuts. Sorry for the background noise here. I'm just grabbing my cuts. All right, you can see here, if you haven't taken them out off of the sheet already, or you can see here how intricate these cuts are. So my suggestion to you is that you push them out from front to back. That way, if there is an accident, there probably will not be, but if something happens to rip when you're punching, it will rip on the back of the die cut, not on the front of the die cut. Okay, and then once you have punched everything out, check your really intricate ones like your butterflies and this butterfly here. There's lots of little spaces, and some of those pieces may not have come out on their own. So you can just punch them out with your pokey thing or the tip of your tweezers or your fussy cut scissors. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about, I don't think I've actually talked about this before, is when you're popping up your embellishments using, I like to use both widths, not widths, height. Both heights of my foam tape. All right, and the same applies for the foam dots. Okay, you can see here I've got 2 rows of the narrow, which is just ever so slightly below 1/4 inch. All right, so they're both 1/4 inch. However, this is a regular foam tape, and you can see the thickness there. This is a thin foam tape. I hope you can see the difference there. All right, so I actually use both of these together. So you can see here on the flowers that I've used a higher foam dot. That's the thicker one, the one that doesn't say one way or the other about the thickness of it. It's just the regular one. That's this one. And then to pop up what's underneath, I used the thin foam. All right, so it still popped up, It's just not popped up as high. All right, so give that a try and see how you like it. When you are attaching very intricate things like these butterflies, all right, it's kind of hard to pop them up. It can be done. If you're using the foam tape, you can cut a very narrow piece. Just hold on 1 minute. My scissors. So this is how I would do this. I would cut a very small piece, so very narrow. And what I did was I just added it onto the back of the body like that. Then if you want to do the same thing, you can put a piece under each end of the wings, and then that will be enough to hold it down for you. It would be different if it was going into a card where people are handling it and everything, but these are going into page protectors, so you don't have to worry as much. Okay, so that is the embellishments. I'm just checking over to make sure. Now these I did pop up as I put into the directions. And what else? I don't think there's anything else. I just want to talk about the stamping now. Okay, so I'm just going to move this over to the side. And I'm assuming that you already have pre-cut your pieces. Okay, these are all, I'm just sorry, I'm just trying to grab a scrap here that's wide enough. That one is. Okay, so for layout 2, your white is, I'm just double checking my measurements, is 11 inches. So you should have 2 pieces of white daisy cardstock that you've already cut down to 11 inches square. So 11 by 11. It's going to do that here. Right. So just bringing this back. All right, this is the left side of the layout, and this is the right side. So the flowers are going in the same direction on both pages. All right, you'll see on here that, oh, okay, sorry. I just got myself confused again. So it's going just right straight across the bottom of both of your pages. All right, so now I use this stamp set, which is the Info Bloom card making stamp set. I did not bother getting the thin cuts because that's for a card front, and I didn't really think that it was necessary for this. Plus, I don't know, it kind of looked weird to me, so I didn't bother with it. Now, the thing is, this is a fairly large stamp, so you're going to need a fairly large block. You're going to need one that is at least 4 inches wide. All right. And I'm going to give it a good season, even though it has been used, just because it is so big. And I'm going to start with my Glacier regular ink. All right. So this is my my bottom edge. You're just going to imagine that this is a whole piece of paper. Didn't want to use a whole piece of paper. And I'm working right on my craft mat. Now you can put a foamy underneath if you feel it's necessary, if you feel better about doing that. I don't need to on here because this is a glass mat that I have underneath my my craft mat. Okay, and so it is very firm, and because this is not a solid image, I get good results without a foam. You want to make sure, however, that I have lots of ink on here, and just so I don't shake everybody's brains up, I'm going to just do it like this. Now, I am really going to go over this just because Glacier is a lighter color. I really want to make sure I've got good ink coverage here. Okay, and so now at the bottom, you want to make sure that your stamped image is hanging off the bottom all the way across. If you want, you can vary the height, but you don't have to. Okay, I'm going to hang it over this edge, and I'm going to hang it over this edge for my first stamp. And I'm going to hang it over about a 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay, remember when you're stamping, take your time. Use your baby fingers for your guides. Make sure you've got it straight going down and where you want it. Don't rush. That's the #1 mistake stampers make, is rushing. You want to give that ink time to transfer onto your paper. Make sure you're giving pressure where all your images are. Okay, very nice. Okay, I'll just give you a nice close-up of that. Okay, so that came out perfectly. All right, now I'm just going to ink up my stamp again. All right, and I'm going to just leave mine about the same height. I'm going to hang it off about a 1/2 inch. And because this is an acrylic stamp, I can really see where I'm stamping. And I want to get it right up close to my first stamp, but not overlap. Okay, and again, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to make sure that I'm pressing everywhere. The feet on this glass mat are sort of silicone, and they make a funny squishing sound when I press them. You probably can't hear it, but it's a weird sound. Okay, there. All right, so you just carry on all the way across the page, and you know that you're going to hang off again on the other side. Okay, just like that. Okay, and then you're going to repeat that entire process on the other 11 by 11 page. Okay, and then we'll just set those aside for a few minutes. Okay, and now I'm just going to, sorry, I'm just going to grab a cloth. I want to make sure I don't have any glacier ink hanging around on that. I'll turn this over because I want to use the same piece to show you for the black. All right. I'm bringing in my black. Okay, I'm not going to bother with my intense black. I'm just using my regular black. I am going to clean my stamp though. Okay. All right, so let me just move this one out of the way. Let me bring this one in. Now, first things first, I just want to make sure of my measurements. So for this layout, for layout 1, your white daisy pieces are 11.5 inches square. So don't get them mixed up. All right, and for this one, this is your left page. So your patterned paper is going up and down or vertically on your page. And this is your right page. So your patterned paper is going horizontally or from left to right. Okay, so what you're going to do is grab your ruler and a pencil. I don't know where my pencil is. Okay, and you want to measure 3 inches from the bottom edge of your paper. Okay, and to do that, I'm just going to mark. And I don't know where my pencil is. You don't even really need to worry about using a pencil because your marks are going to be all covered. I'm going to give myself 3 lines. If I had my Versamat here, that would work better. Okay, and then I'm just going to draw my line across just to give myself Whoops. That went the right way. Okay, so I've got a very faint line here. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough to guide your stamping. Okay, so now I hope you see that using your glacier first, because it's such a light color, is really a good idea. So that if there's any residual ink on the stamp, once you put the black on, that will just get covered up. However, if you do it the other way around and do your black first, if there's any residual, then when you go to stamp your glacier, you will see the black on your paper. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give it lots of ink. Because I'm stamping right on my layout, I want to make sure that I'm giving it lots of ink. Okay, now here is our line, my 3-inch line. This is the bottom edge of my paper, and I'm doing the left side, so it's going to go all the way across on from one end to the other. Sorry. Okay, and this time we're going to do it out this way. So I've got the bottom of the stamp facing away from me. I have the bottom of the paper facing towards me. I'm using my 3-inch line as a guide, and I'm going to overlap by about 1/2 inch. And again, give yourself time, don't rush. Take a sip of coffee if you want. Good coffee. I got my coffee from Starbucks this time. Well, no, Costco, but Starbucks coffee. And it's their spring one. It's really good. All right. So you see how detailed that stamp is. Okay, and I caught every little bit of it because I did not rush. Okay, so now you're going to ink up your stamp again. And again, you can do these at the same height or you can alter them. Just depends on what you like. Okay, so this time I'm going to, alter this a bit. I'm going to stick or hang it over the line by 3/4 inch this time. Okay, I think I touched my paper with the corner of the stamp. We will see what we will see. Okay, let's see how that looks. Very nice. Okay. This did not just happen. That happened when I was stamping in the blue. Now you can see how this one hangs over my 3-inch line more than this one. Remember that as of right here, okay, your paper is going to be covering all of this. So none of this will show. Okay, you're just going to continue that all the way across. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to turn your paper around. You're going to measure 3 inches from this side and do exactly the same thing all the way across, leaving about 1/2 inch if you want them all the same height, about 1/2 inch hanging over the edge of your line here. All right, and then that is the left page done. Okay, now I just want to show you on the right page, you're going to do exactly the same thing. Okay, I'm just going to move these off for a minute here. Okay, so you're going to have your white daisy cardstock laying like this on the table in front of you. You've drawn your 3-inch line and you've drawn your 3-inch line, and then you're going to stamp again with the black. This time though, I hung that over the 3-inch line even more. I would say, let's just look at this and see. I would say I probably hung it over the line about 1 inch. however much you want though, okay? You are only limited by how much space you have this way, okay? And keeping in mind also that all of what's on the other side of the line is going to be covered up with your patterned paper and your little strip of Lagoon cardstock here. Okay, so here I only stamped 3 times. These two I stamped about the same height. This one I stamped a little bit shorter. Now what you can do if you want to alter, or not alter, alternate these images here, you can grab a Post-it note. Probably a bigger one is a bit better. You can stamp your first one here, and then you can just cover up what you've already stamped. Okay, so you want a bigger Post-it note so you don't stamp here. And then you can move your stamp over and stamp a different image right next to it. Okay, I think I'm going to show you that. Grab a bigger Post-it note. I don't want anybody to be confused. So I got a great big Post-it note here. And I'm going to grab another piece of cardstock. Right out of the way. This is a darker color. I don't need to pat as hard, so I'm not going to shake your eyeballs up. Okay, so I'm turning the stamp upside down. Okay, my line is right here. Okay, I'm going to go, let's see, this far. Just make sure that I've got a good transfer of ink there. Okay, not bad at all. All right, now I'm going to cover that up. Let's go this way. Okay. Give it some more ink. And this time I think, let's see, I'm only going to use this half. Okay. Oh, you know what I did? I did the wrong half. I did. Don't ever ask me for directions. I will get you lost every time. Okay, here we go. So I only want this portion showing this time. So I'm just going to go to my spot where I have masked, and I'm going to look for a logical place to divide. I'm going to leave that inch hanging over still, and then I'm just going to stamp. Okay. All right, good. Now when you take your masking off, okay, you can see that you've omitted all of this part. Okay, so that's just one idea. All right, now it's entirely up to you how you want to do this, but I'm just giving you some options here. Okay, so that is that. Now, the last thing I wanted to point out about the stamping is that up here on the top, I only stamped 3 times. All right, and I used a different spot on the stamp. Okay, and bear in mind that when you do the masking, okay, what's down here is not going to show. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, clear as mud, right? If you have any problems at all with that, please let me know and I will help you out. Okay, so let's take first the glacier one. Okay, and move that out of the way. And I want my pencils here, my watercolor pencils. And I'm going to be using 2 colors. I'm going to be using the Milan turquoise. So that's this color. And I'm going to be using the Milan Tropical Yellow. That's this color. So for the glacier one, I only colored the fluted plants and I only colored the tops. Okay, so these plants here, the fluted ones. Okay, that's the only part I colored. So I've got one here, got one here, and okay, I guess I could do this one too. It's the same flower, just smaller. So we'll do those as well. Now, the thing about using your watercolor or pencil crayons as just regular pencil crayons is you need a flat edge. So I hope you can see that. If you don't have a flat edge, okay, it doesn't have to be right flat across. Just a minute, it can be flat at an angle. Let's see if I've got one that's like that. Maybe I don't. Nope, I don't. Okay, you'll just have to imagine that. If you are sharpening your edge, you're just going to just go in circles on a piece of scrap paper like this. Okay, and so it depends on how you hold your pencil, whether you get a flat edge or an angled flat edge. All right, if you hold your pencil like this, then you're going to have an angled flat edge. If you hold your pencil like this, you're going to have it flat straight across. All right, it doesn't matter what you use. Now for this technique, I'm starting in the very middle of the flower and I'm pressing quite hard. Okay, so I've got the center of the flower, or the top of the flower done. Now, as I'm working out, I'm going to press less. I'm still using that flat spot. And I'm just working those two edges together. So I've got the darker in the middle, the lighter on the outside. That's it. With this technique, you don't even have to worry about going all the way out to the edge if you don't want to, because you're only doing an impression. Remember, your coloring is all about impression. Okay, so I'm going to do another one here. Make sure I'm working on my flat edge. I'm going to press pretty hard in the middle because I want it very dark there. And then I'm going to lighten up my pressure as I do around that dark part. And then I'm going to go over the edges just to blend them together. Okay, that's it. That's all you have to do is just color the fluted ones. So you know what, I'm looking at these and I think this is probably a fluted one as well. So I'm just going to get my flat edge here. I didn't look carefully enough at these at the beginning. Okay, so very dark in the middle. And then I'm lightening up my pressure on the outside of that. You'll notice I'm not being fussy about getting right up to the line, the outside line. I am, however, going back to the dark part and coloring over the edge of it in a light pressure, just to blend the two together. Okay, and then I'll do one more over here. So pretty heavy here. A lot of color there. And I'm just following the contour of that flower center. So I'm making it an egg shape. For this one would be more of a circle. And for this one, I'm not even sure what shape that would be. I guess it's sort of an egg shape. All right, and then lightening up my pressure all the way around. And I just want to make sure I don't have a defined edge there. So I'm just going back over the edge of the dark, just like that. Okay, that is really it. That's all there is to it. Okay, now I'm going to grab my black. I'll use this one. Now for the black, I did the same yellow on these fluted pieces. So I'm just going to mark with a bit of yellow here. So these fluted flowers are yellow. And then I used my turquoise, turquoise. And I did all of these smaller open bloom. They sort of look like impatiens, the flowers to me. Exactly the same, flat edge on your pencil crayon. Okay, start dark in the middle. So where your stamp is dark, that's where you're going to color dark. And then all the way around, you're just going to lighten your pressure up and not even worrying about completely filling it in. Okay, we're just going to blend the line so that, and the blending I'm talking about is only the place where the dark, where you're really pressing hard, changes to the lighter. Okay, so here I'm going to do another one. Okay, and I'm really pressing hard here using the flat edge. Okay, so now you can see that there's a very distinct line there where you've stopped with the really high pressure. So now I'm going to do a petal here with a lighter pressure, and then I'm going to go back over the edge of the dark with a light pressure just to make sure that there's no like clear division there. I want the two where the heavy pressure is and the light pressure to just blend together. And I hope that makes sense. I'm just going to do one more here. So I'm just not worrying too much about going up to the edges of the flower. Okay, and so I've got a nicely blended center. Okay, so here I'm just going to press so you can see better. Could be all of these flowers here. And then you're just repeating that over here as well. Maybe all of these ones too. So you've got the 5 in this one arrangement of your stamp. And then you've got, let's see, how many are there? You've got 1, 2, 3 of your fluted ones. That is it. That's all you have to do. And it turns out so beautifully. So let's just look again. One more time here. All right. So which one have I got? This one's going this way. No, it's not. It's going this way. I don't know what I'm talking about here today. All right. So you can see how nicely it looks how nice it looks. Hopefully you can see. I'll just give you a little bit more screen room there. Okay. Just doing the odd flowers, like not doing the whole image, really makes it pop. And then just adding some butterflies from your die cuts, from your stickers, die cuts again. Okay, these flowers are stickers. So pretty. Okay, and then on this one, same, adding some stickers. These ones I did not pop up. Some more of the die cut butterflies. So pretty, so pretty. Okay. All right. So that's it for layout 1 and 2. Let me know if you have any questions about that. I want to just quickly talk to you about layout 3. There's just a couple of things here. All right. So for the most part, this is die cut, not die cut, Cricut cut. Sorry. So everything on this page that you see here is a Cricut cut. All right, with the exception of your 5x7 photo mat, which is already cut for you. It's just that I cut it by hand. And this butterfly, this is a die cut from the sheet of die cuts. Now, I forgot that I'd used a die cut. And so when I cut all of the pieces on the Cricut, I cut another butterfly. So you actually have an extra butterfly in there. You can use it wherever you like. So just to point out that the bloom is layered black on white. And then you have lots of layering to do with this yellow butterfly. this huge flower, so pretty, and then your leaves. Okay, now one way that you can attach these, okay, I just want to take a moment to show you that. I hope, just hang on a minute, I'm going to grab my glue. Glue. I haven't completely unpacked from my weekend away yet. I've got my glue. Okay, and I'm just going to grab one of these. Let's see. Something that's got some openings on it. Like that. Okay, and then I want a regular piece of cardstock. I'm going to attach this to. Okay, just like that. So this is how I do it. I take my glue, whichever glue you're using. This one's almost empty. And I put a fairly decent sized puddle of it on my craft mat. Then I have a piece of sponge here. This is the same sponge that I use, not this one particularly, but got muck on it here. It's sitting out, it's the glue on it has attracted other things. Okay, there. Okay, so this is cut from one of the round sponges. We use these for blending ink and things like that. They're also good for this. Okay, so I'm just going to pounce my sponge, pick up that glue, hopefully as even as possible across the top of the sponge. I'm going to turn this over to the back, and then I'm just going to lightly tap this. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to line it up with the bottom layer and attach it. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so you can use that method anytime you have these big open areas that are very detailed to attach to a bottom layer. So for the leaves, you can do it, for the flower, for the butterfly, any of those. All right, now one thing I want to point out here, just going to get rid of that glue. So I don't glue myself to the table. Okay, so these are from the die cut sheet. All right, so after I had these attached, then I just took my journaling pen and I filled in for the cords for hanging down. These are all die cuts. You will notice that they are not exactly 12 inches. Sometimes it's just impossible to get exactly 12 inches. So they are a little shorter than your page. If that bothers you, you can just put it all to one end and then trim what's hanging over on your base page. But I just centered mine and I think it looks great. Okay, now if you don't have your photos to put in here, I highly recommend using pop dots or foam dots to, or foam tape to put the black film strip piece on. I've also popped this up, this nameplate thing. Okay, you get all of these pieces as Cricut cuts. Yes, Cricut cut, they're all Cricut cuts, except for this. This is a sticker. Okay, this comes off your sticker sheet. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and I forgot to make myself a set to show you, but I wanted to just talk to you about this one right here with the berries. Okay, so you can see the black is on the top. The glacier or the light blue is the bottom layer. And then sandwiched between that is the green layer for the leaves. So from the bottom, it's going to be the glacier piece, then the green, the avocado, and then the black on top. From the top down, it's the black, and then the green, the avocado, and then the blue or glacier on the bottom. Okay, all of the other ones are very easy. They're just 2 layers. Well, these are 1 layer, so they're especially easy. Okay, I think that's all I need to tell you. can't think of anything else that might trip you up when you're putting these layouts together. As I said, if you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know and I will help you the best that I can. I hope that you've enjoyed working with this collection, and we will be talking to you very soon.